Hi Aries, welcome back. Alright, we're going to get into this, see what is going on in your energy, Aries. So we're going to give us a clear, concise message here for Aries. What's going on around Aries' energy? What should Aries know? Okay, the moment of truth. Don't forget to click on that like button, guys. Subscribe if you haven't. Comment, it helps the channel grow. Let's see what came out for you here. Okay, so the first card we have here is the Page of Blades, but in reverse with the Creator. So it's giving me this energy of confusion. Maybe you're confused about something, but this keep going and see where this is going. But you might be confused about a situation. It could be about a breakup, or it could be about a specific person in your life. I am seeing here that you're manifesting something. You're trying to manifest something. But it's like the more, okay, so this is for somebody. This is for one of you. You have somebody in your life that doesn't matter what you do, that person, it's never good enough for that person. This person's coming out as a karmic. So it's like, it doesn't matter what you do. If they want you to get a job, you get a job. And then they're like, oh, no, but I don't like your hours, or I don't like your pay. Something like that. Like, there's always something wrong. Okay, that's what I'm hearing. There's always something wrong with this person. There's always something for them to point out that's not perfect. And I think this person has done this to you quite a bit. Tell me more about the Page of Blade, Spirit, please and thank you. I want you to know this person has lied to you. Okay, we have the Tower in reverse. Tell me more. I think this person has lied to you because it looks like it. Let me see. Yeah. I think this person has lied to you, caused some kind of confusion for a while. Okay, and I think it worked for a while on you, but with the Eight of Swords coming out in reverse, it's telling me that the illusions that this person created for you is no longer working. It's done. It's over. As a matter of fact, I see you like picking up the pieces of something. That's what I'm hearing. You're picking up the pieces of something. What is that then? Well, I think you're just picking up the pieces of your mind because this person has been messing with your mind, right? But this person has definitely caused some delays for you and I want to say internal upheaval, like stirring things up inside of you that you didn't have to go through. Okay, I think this person put you through some kind of hell that you really did not need to go through. It was not necessary. They were just being picky for whatever reason. Okay, tell me more, Spirit. We have the Seven of Coins coming out. I am hearing that you really tried really hard with this person, Aries. You really worked really hard. Wow. So you were trying to build something with this person. And this person just like whatever it was like, no, it was never good enough. Oh man. Okay, so because of this person, you ended up avoiding necessary changes because of this person. You were supposed to change things, you were supposed to do something else, and this person caused you to miss out on something. I'm hearing, wow, so you were like always trying to keep the peace between you and this person. So what I'm hearing for one of you, you had to walk around on eggshells around this person because you never knew what it was that was going to upset them. You never knew what was going to trigger them. And this person was, they would go from one extreme to the other. They would either hold in their emotions and not tell you what was going on and give you the cold shoulder, or they would have outbursts. Just random outbursts. And then what happened was they were causing you to repress your own emotions here because you didn't know if it was going to upset them. So if you were having a bad day, it wasn't like you could share it with this person because you didn't know if it was going to trigger them or upset them or if it was going to become some kind of competition of who had the worst day. And it was always this kind of energy with this person of it was always like combative, you know? At least it was toward the end, okay? Because we do have the two of cups in reverse. You know, at least it was toward the end. How it started, I don't know. But toward the end, this person put you through the ringer. So now you're trying to rebuild your life. That's what it is. Okay. Now you have rebuilt your life, or you're starting to rebuild your life. You're working on it. Yeah. I think this is just more confirmation. It's like all the lies that this person told you, all the illusions that this person created that caused you so much stress. I mean, it faded. You know, truth prevailed. That's what I'm hearing. Truth prevailed. So this person lied to you about a lot of things, and then only for you to find out that they were lying. And I'm hearing that it was about dumb things that didn't even make sense. It was like, why are you lying? Like, what is the purpose of lying? You know, and it was more of really like to test you. Okay, this person was trying to test you to see like how much you would believe them, or how much they could get away with. At least that's how it's coming out. Like they were really trying really hard to figure out like how far they can push you by causing a lot of confusion. Okay. So again, it's giving me this energy of confusion, or they sent you a message that was very confusing, and it was like they did this and they ended up leading you into making the wrong decisions. At least that's what I'm hearing, because they were constantly giving you the wrong information about something. Tell me more about that, Spirit. You know what? This person was jealous of you, but they always wanted to keep this outward appearance of a happy home. So they always wanted to make things look like, you know, everything was good between y'all. Y'all had a happy home. So if you were acting crazy, it wasn't because of them, Aries, you know? That's what it was. You know, they wanted to make sure that nobody knew that the reason was them. I don't understand why people do this. I don't understand why people do this kind of thing. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Like, why even go down this road, right? I mean, why even? It doesn't make sense. It's the craziest thing. And you know what? This person was never committal. Like, they were never wanting to commit. So they were leading you on, breadcrumbing you, and knowing the whole time they did not want a relationship. They did not want a commitment. They did not want to settle down. Wow. So what I'm hearing is this person wanted to keep getting their milk for free. So whatever it was that you were supplying something for this person. You were doing something for this person, you were helping this person, you were giving them something that they wanted. It was either sex, money, support, emotional support. Feeding their ego would be another one I'm seeing here. Yeah. You were giving them what they wanted. But this person never had any intentions of giving you what you wanted. What a jerk. You know what I mean? What a jerk. Spirit is saying here to look inward. Pay attention to reoccurring symbols. So pay attention to that. When you keep seeing the same symbols or signs, it could be signs. Like if you keep seeing something repeating over and over again, there's something about that. And it's something about Spirit saying to trust yourself. I think this person made you feel like you couldn't trust yourself, or you couldn't trust your own intuition. Yeah. Or you couldn't trust your own wisdom. That's another thing I'm seeing here. So it made you feel very uncomfortable, possibly caused you a lot of anxiety and distress. So they wanted to stir you up so you couldn't even trust yourself. It's like this person wanted to tell you what reality was instead of allowing you to judge what reality was. This person wanted to tell you what reality was. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. Doesn't this kind of remind you of something that you would see like on crime TV? I don't know why this is giving me that energy. Well, I'm not seeing any crimes being done other than, you know, this person being a jerk, you know, and treating you terribly and playing mind games. But I don't know why this reminds me of an episode that I saw on True Crime or Snap or something like that, where the guy was treating the girl like this, and he had even her own children doing it to her. Yeah, this kind of psychological warfare, because that's what this was that you went through, Aries. This was a definitely some kind of psychological warfare. You more likely didn't see it because you were wanting it to work out so badly. You know, you were wanting to settle down. You wanted to live the life, like, you wanted a partner, not a dictator, not a tyrant. You wanted a partner in life, you know? You wanted a family, a home, things like that. And this person totally, totally took advantage of you. This person was a jerk, a cockroach. Yes, I'm sorry to say it. I don't know if that hurts your feelings, but this person was a cockroach. They really pushed an agenda here. Tell me more, Spirit. They were pushing for something here. They wanted something to push forward. You know what I'm hearing, Aries? This person wanted you to be afraid of success. You know why? It's going to blow your mind. It's going to blow your mind. They wanted you to be afraid of success. So every time you succeeded in something, I'm hearing that this person either minimized it or made you feel like it wasn't good enough or made you feel like it wasn't worth celebrating. It wasn't an accomplishment. But you know why they did this to you, Aries? You don't? Well, I'll tell you. It's because this person was afraid of you accomplishing and having success. They were afraid of what you were capable of doing. That's how little this person is. You were dealing with a tiny, tiny little person who couldn't stand to have a partner who was successful. How pathetic is that? What a pathetic little person this person was. Ooh, and let me tell you, I've dealt with people like this before. I was actually in a relationship with somebody like this before. Yeah, it was weird. But the thing is yours. See, mine, I kind of knew something was wrong with that picture. But your situation, your person was so emotionally manipulative. You might not have caught on to this. If you did, you caught on to it way after the fact. Or, or it took you a long time, like after the relationship, for you to process what was going on. That's how manipulative that person was. Because people, man, if you get around the wrong person, this kind of person that can manipulate the way that this person is able to manipulate people, they're dangerous. They're very dangerous kind of people. Your person is a dangerous person. Well, this is not your person, but you know what I'm saying. This person that dragged you through the mud, right, is a dangerous person. Now, I don't see that they necessarily are dangerous to you right now. At least it's not coming out in the cards like they're dangerous to you, but the level of sinister activity, that this person can indulge in is what makes them dangerous. To make a person afraid of success, come on now. That has got to be a new level of low. You know what I mean? Just because of their ego, just because they feel so small, just because they can't handle success or they don't have it for themselves and they didn't want you to have it. This person is dangerous, psychologically dangerous. This is the kind of person that would drive people crazy, and this person has a demon inside of them. They have a demon inside of them. They really do. Every single time I have a reading where somebody in the reading is a demon, guess what? A fly shows up. Kid you not. It happens every single time. Every single time. Somehow, they just find their way to me. And it's like, I swear, it's a sign that this person is a demon. Because if you notice, when I have good readings and it has no demons in it, there's no flies that show up. No flies get on my cards. And look at this thing. And then when there is a demon, they just show up. Well, it's one specific one, actually. One fly. You know what I mean? Now I'm going to have to clean my cards after this reading. Ugh. Anyhow, it's the curse of reading reversals. That's what it is. Anyhow, the reason why this person is coming out in your reading here is because of something about you having a new beginning. Yeah, there's something about you having a new beginning. Also, I don't know if I mentioned it over here, but there is a secret that is over here that Spirit wants you to come out with, to reveal. Okay? I don't know if I said it. If I'm repeating myself, I'm so sorry. But yeah, there is a truth here that Spirit wants you to bring out into the open. Talk about it. Bring it up. There's a reason why Spirit wants you to do that. I believe it's to help you heal, or to help you process, or maybe to help you help other people who are going through this. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. And I'm going to tell you this because I believe that's what I'm looking at here. Yes, Spirit is saying yes, it is what I'm looking at. Okay. There is a group that I've heard about that is on the black market that teaches men how to manipulate women. It's a group of men who hate women and do not want them to be successful. And I feel very strongly that's what I'm looking at here. Because, not just because of what I'm seeing here, but because of what I'm seeing here. This person was deliberately pushing you to a burnout. They were deliberately pushing this agenda on you. They wanted to burn you out. Now, this group, let me tell y'all guys about this group. I found out that this group teaches men how to humiliate women, how to hold women down, because in their eyes, women are just toys to be played with. And we are, apparently, they believe that women are only on earth for sexual use, just to be used. That's it. We're supposed to be just used for sex, and that's it. We should not have no desires, wants of our own. We should not have any desire to succeed or have any kind of success in our life. That's another thing I want to tell y'all. They actually don't want women to succeed. Yeah, I'm going to tell y'all. They don't want women to succeed because too many women, you know what this person told me? Too many women are becoming police officers. Too many women are becoming lawyers, judges, doctors. Yeah. And they feel like a woman is going to end up becoming president. This was the guy that was living here years ago, the one I told y'all about that was abusing me. Well, he's still abusing me. He killed my dog, and he beat my dog. He punched out my dog's teeth, and my dog ended up dying. And he ended up, over the years, he's ended up killing. Ooh, I can't sit down and think of each one, guys, because then I'm gonna start crying. So I'm gonna say about 8 cats. Most of them didn't even make it the first 6 months to 8 months of age, and it took me a long time to figure out that it was him that was doing it. That's how manipulative he was. Yeah, very manipulative. Actually, He's the one that told me that about this group that he belongs to. And guess what he told me? The GOV, people in the GOV actually pay for this group. They fund this group on the black market because they're so scared that a woman is going to become president. And if a woman becomes president of the United States, then a woman is going to know where they're putting the money at. They apparently it's a club. Okay, this is how he explained it to me, okay? Apparently each president that we've had belongs to a club. They're all a club. Doesn't matter what political party they belong to. They all belong to a club and specific amount of money goes to this club. And the thing is that if women were to find out what goes on in this club and where our tax money goes to, apparently we would be angry. He told me that he has. I'm just gonna tell y'all everything. He told me that he unalived 12 people. I was to be the 13th one. He drugged me up. Yeah, and he sexually, essayed me, and they taught him how to do this, and they've been teaching him how to do this since he was 12 years old. Not the this group that he's a part of this on the black market, but a police officer in San Antonio is the one that started teaching him and then got him into this club when he got older. They used to pick women up and then they would take her to her house or take her to a hotel in San Antonio and they would SA her and then they would sell her, invite other people to come and sell her, drug her up. He told me everything. When he would get drunk and high and he would do drugs, he would talk about everything. He told me everything. He actually got paid to do this to me. Yeah. It's a long story. It's a longer story, but um anyways, he's the one that told me about this group. And ever since he told me about this group, I'm noticing that it's true. After he told me like a couple days later and I was talking to him about it, I brought it up and he was like, "What? No, no, I didn't tell you that." I was like, "Yeah, you did." And he was like, "No, no, no, no." And he tried to deny it. No, he already told me. And the more I get online now, the more I believe it because I'm seeing more and more of this animosity toward women. And it's like, why? You know what I mean? And then they want to make women who are, um, well, I'm not sure if they're talking about feminists or are they just talking about women having rights? Because apparently this group believes that women shouldn't have their own companies. They believe that women should not be allowed to have like their own house or own their own car. Like they shouldn't. Women should not be allowed to have a bank account. Ooh, ooh, you see these demons coming in? They believe that we should go back to the day when women had to have permission to be able to save money or to have money. So they want to take us back 100 years. You know what else he told me? Since I'm already on the topic, guys, I hope y'all don't mind, but I'm just going to tell y'all. He told me that him and this cop in San Antonio, he told me, I know the cop. This cop that he's talking about, he used to break into my house about 2 to 3 times a week. And like if I was on the toilet, he would just walk in and stand there and watch me on the toilet. If I was taking a bath, he would just sit there and watch me take a bath. And there were times when I would find myself dressed in my bed and I didn't know how I got there. Yeah, and then there were times when my children were home with me and he would force me to stay in the living room and he would be in the bedroom with my kids and I'd hear them screaming in there. I don't remember him raping me. Excuse me. I don't remember him raping me. SA in me. I don't remember any of that. But he told this person, his name is Chris. He told Chris that he did, and he's really worried that I'm going to remember. Well, I don't remember. I just remember him breaking into my house. And I remember him threatening me, telling me if I told anybody that he has put women in prison like me before. And he told me that in prison that they have rooms like downstairs, like under the prison, that they take women like me who complain and don't want to do what they want me to do, and they put them down there. They set them up. He said that he was gonna get his friends to say that I'm a, I deal illegal substances. And I was like, I don't even do illegal substances. I don't even drink. And he was like, so what? The judge doesn't know that. And I was like, yeah, well, I'll tell him. And he's like, he told me, you could tell him whatever you want. Judge is gonna look at us, me. He was saying him and his friends. He said that judge is gonna look at them, all cops, and then here I am, a nobody. Who's the judge gonna believe? That's what he told me. And he told me that nobody was gonna see me, and my children would never see me again. He said that he would make sure that nobody ever saw me. Like, I wouldn't be able to have any visitors or anything. He told me that the women that are down there, that they have put, him and his friends have put down there, they get to go and they get to visit them whenever they want to, and nobody can hear them screaming down there. Yeah. Anyways, he's the cop that taught Chris, the one that did all these things to me, that got paid to do all this stuff to me. He's the one that got Chris into this black market um club, whatever this club is. He's the one that got him into this club, and he's the one that started training Chris when he was like 12 years old. Chris told me that when he was 12 years old, that's when he unalived the first lady. It was an older lady. He ended up unaliving her. And then he said the first few times it was hard, he said, because he was scared. But the more he did it, and the more how you say, like, that cop, he has friends that are doing it too. Like, they'll pick one girl, and they'll pick the girl that they want to get, and then they'll trap her. And how they do it, he told me everything, guys. I'm gonna tell you, he told me everything. How they do it is they look for women that have mailboxes that are outside their houses, like near the street. And then what they do is they mail themselves, like Chris would mail himself a letter, right, to her mailbox. It could be like a car insurance letter, hospital bill, anything like that that says that he was living. It's because they need that mail, that letter that says that he lives at that address, right? This way, when they kidnap her and she's screaming, and say if somebody sees it and they call the police on them, and the police comes and investigate it, because not all cops are in on this group. It's a group in San Antonio, and I believe him because it's a long story, but I believe him because I've had dealings with this. I'll tell y'all more as we go along. But what they would do is take the girl, and if a cop shows up that's not part of the group, because there's like what they call clean cops, cops who follow the law, cops who, they're good guys, right? And then there's cops like them that use the badge so they can kidnap women and children and do the things that they want to do with them, right? So so what they do is, because they don't know who's going to show up, right? So they use the mail. And then he says that he told me that his part was to just tell the cop that, oh, this is my common law wife. We live together. And he said, and the girl's like screaming, I don't know him. Help me. I don't know him. And he just pulls out the letters and like, see, we live together. And he said that they do it for like a year, or sometimes even more. They'll follow the woman around, find out where she works at, um, even stop her to get all her information, like her ID. Like, the cop will stop her, right, to get her information, what company she gets her like insurance from, where she works at. Like, he can find out everything he needs just by stopping her and saying, "Oh, well, you didn't stop all the way at the stop sign," or something like that, so he can get all the information. Once they get all the information, then when um when like when they're kidnapping her, because sometimes they'll take her like from Walmart, he said, or they take her from public places where people wouldn't think a woman would be getting kidnapped from, right? This is what he told me. I'm sorry that this reading has turned into this direction, guys, but I'm just feeling very compelled to share this part of my life with y'all and the things that I've learned and things that I've experienced with this kind of person, because this person is part of this group and spirit really wants me to share this information with you, okay? So so just bear with me. There's a reason why. I don't know why exactly, but I think it's because of the kind of person that you were around. That's why spirit wants me to share this with you. But anyways, and the cop could be like, oh, this is another thing he told me. All he has to do is tell the cop, oh, she's schizophrenic, or she's bipolar, or she's psychotic and she's on medications. Yeah. And then he'll say, and he'll tell the cop, well, I pick her up every day from work. I don't know why she's saying that. She's off her meds. She's not making any sense. And he said the cop will say, well, where does she work at? Oh, well, she's a secretary at wherever, right? She works here and she does that, and I've taken her lunch there all the time. And then the cop turns around and goes talks to the woman and says, where do you work at? She's all, oh, I work here. And so he, you know what I'm saying? She confirms in that cop's mind that, yeah, this is her husband. And they get this. They only do these things. This is a global thing. Well, not global, but I know it's in the United States. According to him, it's all over United States. But they do it specifically in common law states. Because they can't do this. They can't get away with doing this in states that are don't have common laws. See, in Texas, any man can come and claim that they're your husband if you're not married. And when he was telling me that, I remembered this actually happened to me in 2001. And this is why I know what he's saying is true. In 2001, my ex husband, he was deployed to Iraq, and he had just left. Like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before, he had just been deployed. And this cop shows up with this guy, and the guy is claiming that he was my husband and that I kicked him out. And I'm like, who is it? I don't even know this person. But get this, he knew my name. He knew where I worked at. This is why I believe Chris. When he said that, this is why I believe him, because I experienced this myself. This guy knew my name. He knew where I worked at. He knew my birthday. Um, he knew everything about me. Yeah, and it made the cop mad at me, like as if I was lying. And I was like, I don't know this man. And he was like, ma'am, stop lying. You're telling me he knows your birthday, he knows where you were born. I was like, I don't know. I mean, I honestly could not figure out how he knew all this information about me. Get this, the cop was telling me that by law I had to let him in my house. I fought with the cop because I had two little girls with me at the time. In 2001, my daughter was, I had a 5 year old, going to be 6, and the other one was 8, going to be 9. And this strange man, the police was going to force me to let this strange man into my house. And the cop was getting angry with me, telling me that he was going to have to arrest me because that's considered spousal abandonment. That's what he was telling me. Yeah. And that's another thing that they throw around a lot in common law states. At least that's what I think, because I've lived in states that don't recognize common law marriages. At least that's just my thinking, okay? But anyways, yeah, this cop was trying to force me, and I was getting upset, and I was getting confused, and I was, when you get upset, you start yelling, which was making the cop more angry, and the cop was becoming more forceful, and he was acting like he was going to arrest me. Like he was going to barge into my house and arrest me because I was standing in the door of my living room. Anyways, that guy showed the cop. That's another thing. That guy showed the cop letters, and I didn't know what the papers were, but it was enveloped letters. He was showing the cop, and the cop was acting ugly with me, like they were going to force me. And then I realized, what am I doing? Why am I arguing? We were arguing back and forth for like, I don't know. It felt like forever, to tell you the truth, but because the cop was going back and forth between us. It just felt like it was taking forever, you know? It was so weird. At first, I thought it was a joke. At first, I thought, the poor man must be drunk or he was on drugs or, you know what I mean? Even at the time, I thought, this guy was on drugs or something. Not, but when Chris told me all of this, then I put the pieces together. Oh, yeah, I believe him. Anyways, um, I realized, what am I arguing with this man for? I told the cop, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I'm legally married. I have, yeah, I didn't even realize, why am I arguing? Why am I even arguing? I had to go in my room. Thank God I knew exactly where my marriage license was. I had to go get my marriage license, bring it to the cop, and show it to him. And I told him, my husband just left. He's been deployed to Iraq. And the cop looked at it, and he turned around, and he went, and he told the guy something. And the guy like turned around and started walking away, and me and the cop was on the sidewalk and I was in my house, and we both just watched the guy. He walked away real fast, like not running but walking like like really fast, like he wanted to get out of there. And the cop just stood there. I looked at the cop was just standing there watching him, like for a good long time, for like maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Like, that was so weird, right? And then the cop turned around and like he looked at me and I looked at him. Then he just got in his car and drove away. He didn't even say, he didn't apologize. He didn't do nothing. But the point is that if you live in a common law state, I found out that they specifically train young men. They like to get them very young, and they start training them because they use common law states as hunting grounds. Yeah, that's what they call it, hunting grounds. So they enjoy using common law states, and Chris told me that a lot of judges are into this, which I believe him, and they will not pass. Because I was like, oh, then I told him, I need to pass the law. I need to, why do we even have common law marriage? That doesn't even make sense. Who doesn't have the money to get a real marriage? It literally costs what, the same as a meal. If people wanted to be legally married, wouldn't they just go get married? And I was like, oh, well, then I need to change that. Too many women in Texas just disappears, and they're always finding bodies everywhere, women's bodies here and there, especially little, young girls, you know what I mean? And he was like, oh no, the judges that are in on it, that they like it, they want it to keep going, they'll never let you change that law. Texas will never change that law because it brings in tourism. The the men come here to hunt. Yeah, that's what he told me. Men come here to hunt. This is why we have so many cases in Texas that go cold. Unsolved mysteries. Nobody knows what happened to them. Yeah, because this is the thing. The people who are training these guys, like this guy Chris, they're cops that are training them. They're training them how to get away with it. Yeah, they're training them how to tell the detectives what to think. He told me that he has seen the girls that they unalived. He told me that he's seen them on TV crying, saying, "No, my daughter, she was a good girl." And the detectives, well, the the detective was like, "Well, I got to go by the evidence. It showed that she was using illegal substances. See, they keep the girl for a while, and they keep drugging her up. You know what I mean? They don't just like unalive her right away. They keep her for a while so it looks like she's a druggie. You know what I mean? And then they prostitute her out, you know, against her will. But then they do that because they need to keep a large amount of money in her hotel room. You know what I mean? And this way, the detective was like, "Oh, see, she was hooked on drugs and she was prostituting herself." And see, that's what happened. That there it is. That's why we have so many different samples, of sperm and stuff like that, right? We're all adults here, right? And yeah, that's what he told me. And he said that the detective would come out and be like, "Yeah, but I have to follow the evidence." And yeah, too bad. We have to follow the evidence. See, the cops already know what evidence to plant. You know what I mean? He told me that some women, they'll just take them back and put them in their car. That's it. After they unalive her, or as she's being unalived, they'll just leave her in her car at a grocery store, wherever they got her from. They'll just leave her there. So then she'd be found there, and everybody's like, "Oh, she must have died of natural causes." No, she was tortured. She was tortured. That person, he tortured me. Yeah, I actually, my back is hurt now because of it. Yeah. Anyways, I think Spirit wanted me to tell you all this because the person you're dealing with, this person specifically, even though he hasn't done these things, I don't see him like drugging you up yet or anything like that. I do feel like this is a lesson for you. There's something here for you to learn about this experience, especially for the Aries who hasn't gone through this yet, that's about to go through this, because this could be a future reading. As soon as you start realizing, well, first of all, if you start missing days where you went to sleep on a Tuesday and you didn't wake up until Friday, that's a sign. That's a red flag. I actually slept for a whole month. I found out that Chris was drugging me up with, I believe it was fentanyl and meth. Yeah. And I didn't even know it. How I found out was, actually, I just recently found out what it was because of YouTube. YouTube, I saw it on YouTube actually. Um, they were talking about some kind of bust that they did, and they showed the pill, and I was like, "That's the pill that Chris had around." You know what I mean? I was like, "Hey, wait a minute, that's what it was." And meth looks like I'm a rock collector, just so you know. I love rocks. I've been doing this for years. I will literally, if I see a beautiful rock, I have asked my kids, I will pull over and get that rock. I love rocks, and I will pick up rocks. The thing about the meth is that it looks like a beautiful rock. And one time I had found a bag. It was a little black bag that had these pretty rocks in it. And I thought that he was surprising me. This is when he and I first started hanging out with each other. This is before I knew all this. This took years for me to find out, guys. This wasn't like something he just told me. You know what I'm saying? This is actually, it took I want to say 6 years for him to be that comfortable with me that he started confessing everything. And I think 6 years. I don't know. I gotta sit down and think about it. But I saw the rocks. I thought they were a surprise. I thought, oh, he knows I like rocks. So I took the rocks out and I put it on the windowsill because they were so pretty. He came back and he was like, "Where's the stuff? I left it on the toilet." And I was like, "What stuff? What are you talking about?" And I didn't know. Before I can even respond, he punched me in my face, knocked me down. He had me pinned against the wall. He was choking me and he was punching me in my head. I had no idea what was going on. It was just like, boom, he was attacking me. He was on top of me. I'm only 5'1". I'm not a big lady. I'm a, you know what I'm saying? I'm only 5'1". And yeah, he beat the hell out of me. And then afterwards, when I was on the floor, after he attacked me, then he asked me about the white rocks, and I told him, oh, because I didn't understand what he was talking about. And then I understood what he was talking about, and I told him it was on the windowsill. And then he went to the restroom, got it out, and then he left and left me on the floor. Um, yeah, it was crazy. Anyways, I didn't know that I was being drugged up. It actually took me years to figure out that I was being drugged up. So, I think Spirit wants you to know this because this person is part of this group. Everything that Chris did to me was his part of his training. The whole thing about unaliving my animals, it turns out that they do that. It's to make me bond with him. So he could like, oh, I'm so sorry about your kitty. Oh, and it's supposed to be a bonding experience. But apparently, I'm a very stubborn person, very hard-headed person, and I'm a lot stronger. Apparently, he said I'm a lot stronger, and so he had to keep unaliving my cats. He kept torturing them. So then I would cry, and then he can comfort me, and stuff like that. Toward the end, he started confessing everything, but I think it was because he was doing something. I think he was on something. You know what I mean? I think he was the stuff that he was supposed to be using on me. I believe he started using it on himself, and I know it's not funny, but it is kind of funny. I think he actually got himself addicted to it over the years of you know what I mean, having it and doing it, and yeah. Well, I'm not the smartest chicken in the coop. It took me I didn't figure this out. That's the point I want you to know. I didn't figure things out. I did figure out that he was drugging me up. I did figure that out on my own. But the rest of all this, I didn't figure this out. He actually had to tell me and confess everything to me. Actually, he was gloating about it. Um, the first time he started talking about this was because his friend that he worked with, he worked with this one guy that he just adored. And this one guy, he unalived his whole family. And apparently, these kind of guys, they really look up to somebody who can unalive their mom specifically. But, somebody who can unalive their whole family, according to Chris, that's the man. He's like the big guy. He's the guy that everybody looks up to and admires, right? Well, there was a guy that they used to work with down the street with this company. He was a young guy, like about 20 years old. And this guy, he got his girlfriend pregnant. And he wanted his girlfriend to come and live with him. But he still lived with his mom. And his mom said no. She said, no, I don't want you moving her in. If you got her pregnant, you move, go get an apartment and go start living your life. I don't want anybody else living here. So that young guy went to work, talked to Chris, and the other guy, the one that unalived his whole family, and they told him, oh, well, just beat her to death. So guess what he did? Yeah, he took a baseball bat and he beat her to death. I mean, he's in prison now, but I heard that because of the training that they got from this group, he just barely got a slap on the hand because they said because Chris said that judges are stupid. Judges are real stupid. He said that all you gotta do is give a judge a sad story, you know, and they'll cut off like 10, 20 years off of your time. They'll be more lenient with you. So apparently they told him what to say. They trained that guy. Yeah, isn't that crazy? The world is a wicked place, Aries. Okay. I think Spirit wants you to know all this because I believe this is getting out of hand. because I'm seeing more and more stories. Well, not here in Texas, but I have over the years, I have seen more and more stories where men are getting away with this. They're getting away with doing these things. Yeah. This person that you're dealing with here, Aries, is a very dangerous person. They are very capable of doing the things that I'm telling you about. This stuff about making you feel like not really afraid, but like not really wanting to have success, or not really wanting to have that drive for success, you know? I want you to know is the beginning. That is the beginning. You're being groomed. You being afraid to upset this person, walking around on eggshells, you're being groomed. And you know what? I guarantee you, because of the group that this person's involved with, down the road, this person's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Yeah, it's going to get worse. Till you're going to be like in your kitchen, and all of a sudden this person's just going to come in and beat the hell out of you, all because you moved some rock. And you don't even know what it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyways, this group, yeah, according to Chris, the GOV pays for it every year. Like billions of dollars disappear, and everybody's like, "Oh, we don't know what happened to it." You know, like he claims that that's where the money goes. It's to keep women submissive. They need to keep women afraid. They want women to not feel free to be able to walk to their cars. He said because if a woman is able to feel free, and if she feels secure, then nothing bad's going to happen to her. Then she'll be able to excel. She'll be able to go to school. She'll be able to study. He said, but, they have to keep women afraid. So, like, when he says, like, he asked me, like, when you leave a store, do you look back? I say, yeah, of course, especially if it's dark, Of course, I look around. I become hyper vigilant, make sure nobody's around me, nobody's following me, you know, stuff like that. He said that's why they need to keep us afraid, because they're afraid of us becoming smarter, becoming more independent. He said that a lot of cops are in on the group because female cops are coming in and joining the force. And the thing is, the female cops are actually making the male cops look bad, because the female cops are coming in and they're actually doing their jobs. They're making reports. They're filing the reports. You know what I mean? They're actually doing their jobs. And then they're making the other cops who want to make things look hard. Like, oh, I don't know if I could file this complaint. Oh, they those cops that don't want to do their job, right? The female cops are making them look bad. This is why they want to get female cops off of the force. Yeah, they want to get females out of working in law enforcement or working in law, period. Like judges, lawyers, they just want to make sure women are not working in the law. And the reason why is because right now, another reason why he told me is because men make laws over women's bodies, and men make laws about what kind of abuse is acceptable over women. But if women become president and more women start working in law and become lawyers and judges, then more women are going to stand up and say, you know what? No more. See, because this is what happened in the past. This is what he told me. See, not very long ago, a man in Texas was able to beat a woman, his wife. He would be able to beat his wife every day if he wanted to, as long as the switch that he used wasn't thicker than his thumb. So if he felt like going home every day just for the fun of it and beat up on his wife, he could. And nobody could tell him anything. See, and the thing is that more women started taking positions like judges, lawyers, police officers, And guess what happened? Now there's more and more laws against that kind of thing. Men are not allowed to just go home and beat their own wives anymore, like they used to be able to. You know what I mean? My great grandma, her name was Mabel. She had 4 boys, and my great grandfather, he he used to beat her. He would beat her, and this is back in the like 1900, like 1880, 1890s. That's right, because it was before my grandpa was born. And he would starve them. They didn't have food stamps back then. There was no charities back then. If you needed help, you had to go to the church. And the thing is that back then, you couldn't just walk up into a church, any church, and ask for help. You had to like belong to that church. They had to know you. But if you were like a stranger and you just walked up, they'll give you a meal, but they're not going to help you like buy a month's worth of groceries. You know what I mean? Not back then. I don't know what they do nowadays, but at least that's what my grandpa said. So, anyways, my grandpa said that my great grandfather, ooh, he was a SOB. My grandpa said that he would drink and he would get paid and he would drink up all the food. He would drink up everything. It got to the point where they didn't have clothes, they didn't have food, they were all starving. They had to walk around with their toes sticking out of their shoes because he was eating up all. He would go to work, yeah, he worked, but then he spent the money. And if my great grandmother said something, he just beat the hell out of her. And the neighbors would just, close the doors because there's nothing to do. Oh well, that poor woman's getting starved to death, and the boy, the kids are screaming, and he's beating them all up, and nobody could say nothing about it. See, but then when women started taking positions of power, of authority, a lot of things changed. Things got better, a lot better. My grandmother, and this was actually before women even had rights to vote in the United States. You have to remember, this is back when my grandpa was little, like I want to say like 1903, 1904. You know what my grandma did? Well, she figured she could sit there and die either by starvation or being beaten to death. And so she packed up the boys, my grandpa and his 3 brothers, and she came to Texas. Back then, women doing that was unheard of. My grandma was very brave. She was a very strong woman. She left him, and she ended up meeting this man named Charlie, and she and Charlie got married. And my grandpa said that when she married Charlie, um, that's when him and his brothers adopted Charlie. They adopted Charlie. They took his last name. So we really don't know what our family name is. Um, Not exactly, but we do know what our race is because Charlie was part of the same race as us. So we do know what our race is. We just don't know what our real last name is, family name is. But anyways, my grandpa said that when Charlie came in the picture, my great grandma, she was very strong. She already started working on her own business, and let me tell you, back then, ooh, she had a hard time. The only kind of business that a woman was allowed to have back then, or the only job that a woman was allowed to have back then, was either a teacher, a nurse, um, maybe a secretary, maybe, because back then men were usually the ones that worked secretarial work. Yeah, I didn't know that either. And maybe secretarial work because women were just starting to, because they felt like women couldn't handle filing. Women weren't intelligent enough to understand the alphabet, how to file things alphabetically. Yeah, We were more better off just to stay home and have babies. You know, we didn't have a brain. Yeah, we were just like wild animals. You know, that's it. And at least that's what my grandpa said. That was their a lot of men's opinions. Majority of men, not all men. I know we a lot of us grew up watching Little House on the Prairie, but the thing is that the father on Little House on the Prairie, he was the exception. Yeah, the men in that show were the exception. A lot of men back then did not want their wives leaving the house. A lot of men did all the shopping, not the women. Did you know that? Yeah. The men did the shopping back in the late 1800s. A lot of men did. I mean, yeah, women could go get their own thing, but it was discouraged. It wasn't I mean, she could, you know, but it would be as though she would be unwanted in the store. They didn't want her in the store. It was like you know how a shopkeeper nowadays, if a bunch of kids come in the store and start running around, you know, the shopkeeper tries to get them out. Well, the same thing with women back then because I don't know. I really don't know why, but I guess because they thought women didn't have no money, so why would they need to go to a store? Why isn't their husband going to the store and handling the finances? You know, things like that. Because back then, my grandpa said that when he was a little boy, the the popular opinion was that women couldn't handle finances. You know, women couldn't handle money and things like that. Yeah, very interesting. But anyways, this group, the reason why I'm telling you all this, guys, is because of this one specific group. They want women to not be allowed to have a bank account. They want women to be forced into getting married. They want women to be submissive to men. They want women to be completely dependent on men so men could do what they want, whatever they want. The thing about that is that I know there is a group of women that are like, yeah, we should go back to the old days. No, honey, you don't understand. When you have to sit there and you're listening to your baby getting essayed and she's only 6 years old and you can't do nothing about it, then you'll understand why so many women fought for women's rights and the women's independence and the women's right to vote and to have a job and to own their own property and to be able to have their own bank accounts and to be able to live a free life. Because so many women, like my great grandmother, suffered a lot, starved. My grandfather told me that he remembers when he was 11, something like that. He was like 11 or 12. This man was screaming. It was a neighbor. He was screaming. He unalived his wife, quote, by accident. He accidentally unalived his wife. He sat there on the curb with two babies, crying as they carried her body out. And I was like, ooh, did they arrest him? For what, honey? He told me. He said back then a man could beat his wife. He wasn't doing anything that was illegal. And yeah, he was starving her. And she was malnourished and she was weak. But that wasn't illegal either. Man, that really, really sunk into my head. Really sunk into my head. Because he was telling me, whatever you do, make sure that you can provide for yourself. Whatever you do, because if you ever allow another human being, whoever it is, to provide for you 100%, that person has the right to abuse you. And you will, and even if it's against the law, you will put up with a lot because what are you supposed to do? Starve to death? You're going to be between a rock and a hard place. I'll never forget that. That's why I started working very young. You know, I've always had this, I don't know what to call it, but this thing about being independent and having my own money, being able to buy my own food. It's really like sunk into my head. You know what I mean? Especially when he told me stories about my great grandma. I wish I could tell you all the stories, but ooh, it would make you cry. She actually lost a baby, the only girl she ever had. Yeah. She lived a very hard life. The early 1900s, the time that my grandpa was talking about, very hard life. And she started her own business, washing clothes. And back then, they didn't have washing machines. She would work until her fingers were bleeding. My grandpa said that she had sores all over her hand. But but even then, she said that was better to have those sores all over her hands than it was to live with their father. What does that tell you? You know what I mean? Have you ever had a cut on your hand and you stick it in dish soap or you stick it in you know, dish, some kind of water? It hurts. It burns. It aches. But that was actually better for her to work 16 hours a day from the time she woke up to the time she went to sleep. She would scrub clothes and iron them and fold them and, of course, deliver them to the rich people or people. It was basically like upper class people that could afford it. And she told my grandpa because it was better than being in that. He doesn't remember too much about his biological father. He told me a lot of the stories that he does know about is because his older brothers and his mom told him. There are some things that he remembers, but yeah, not everything. Anyways, there's a point to this, and the point is that we cannot let these people win, okay? Period. The reason why I'm telling you all this, and I think Spirit wants me to tell you everything, and well, I still haven't told you everything, but because I would be here for hours and hours explaining everything to y'all. But there's a reason why. We cannot let this happen. We cannot allow, like this person, what they're doing to you, to be spread to our daughters. We have to teach our daughters what red flags are. We have to make sure that they understand that no, when a boy's pulling your hair, it doesn't mean he likes you. We grow up with these kind of thinking, and then we grow up and we end up making excuses for this kind of behavior. If a man is feeling so intimidated by your success, then that's not the right man for you. And if this man feels so intimidated by your success that he has to make you afraid of succeeding, this is not the right man for you. But the thing is that the way that they do things, they do it so slowly. I'm telling you this right now, and I know a lot of you are listening. You're like, well, I would never put up with that. Yeah, because you're hearing about it this way. It's being shown to you like on a movie screen, you know? When you see a movie and you watch a movie, a lot of times you kind of know what logical steps are going to happen next. But when you're in the middle of something, when you're in the middle of a relationship with this kind of dynamics in it, you don't see it because it happens so slowly. It doesn't just happen overnight. This is something that takes years of grooming and abuse and to break you down. You understand? It's a lot. A lot goes into this. And the problem is that these men are getting trained how to do it with psychology. They get men who are trained to train soldiers to create men off the streets and make them into soldiers. Think about that. Think about this, ladies. These are men. Some of these men that work in this group they work in the military. They train men, punks, okay? I'll say even punks, off of the streets. Take that young man, take him into the military and make a soldier out of him. Think about that. They use psychology on these men. I don't know if y'all are aware of that, but they use psychology on these men to make them into soldiers. It's not just them going off and learning how to shoot and learning how to you know, like learning how to do things, right? No, it's their mental state too. It's a psychology too, to make them mentally prepared to do the things that they're going to do. These are the men, these men are getting trained by these men. You understand? They're getting trained by like a soldier. So I guarantee you the things that this person has been doing to you or going to do to you, if this is a future reading, this is elementary stuff. This is elementary stuff. This is just the little tiny beginning steps of what's coming in the future. What this person was gonna do, right? For you, for who this is a past reading, what this person was going to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Trauma bond is a real thing, guys. And they use it. Yeah. Anyhow, um, I just want to say, in the event that you have a daughter in San Antonio who was unalived, found in a car, or found in a hotel, and you know dang well that your daughter or sister or cousin or best friend was not a person who used illegal substances, was not selling themselves, was not doing any of these things, it's because of this group. That's why they were targeted. Mm-hmm. That's why, because they're worried. And I understand that they pick women who are educated. They like to pick women who are very intelligent. They like to pick, you know what I mean? Those are the ones they want to go for. Specific, oh, that's another thing he told me. They specifically look for women. Why they picked me, I don't know. This don't make no sense. But well, I do know, but it's going to take a long story for me to explain it to you. But they specifically look for women that come from good families. That's another thing I forgot to tell you. I don't come from a good family. Yeah, that's why I was like, I I know why they picked, I know why he picked me and he did all this stuff to me now. But again, it's a long story. But they actually look for women who are coming from good families. The reason why is because women who come from good families have a higher chance of going to college, graduating, having a career, being independent. That's why. So they want to break down these women. They also want to attack specifically women who are in law enforcement, like a judge, like a police officer, um, a lawyer, judge, anything like that. They specifically want to unalive women. Yeah, they specifically target women. But see, this is what he told me. Um, you know how they kidnap the girls and they take her to a hotel. Those ones are just the girls who are like going to college. They're not in law. They don't work in law. Okay. There's a difference of how they are handling the situation. He explained to me. Yeah, he told me everything, guys. So the girls that he would attack are going to be girls who are going to either be going to college, or they know that they are going to have a good chance to go to college, or they are already in college. Those are the ones that they take them to the hotel, they drug them up, they do all those things, right? Now, law enforcement, like a woman who's already in law enforcement, they handle those differently. Those ones are done differently. Those ones, they have to date them. Yeah. Yeah. Did you know that? They have to date them. This way, it looks like it was domestic abuse. You see? They have to make it look like, oh, that's why that happened to her. Oh, that's why he was mad at her. Oh, there it is. You see, they handle each situation depending on, according to what he said, it's according to the woman's age, the woman's background, the woman's education level, what she does for a living. That's how they handle it differently for each woman. Yeah, yeah. Talk about psychology. The reason why is because they cannot bring attention to the group. So if in other words they have to, like the men that train them, it has to fit a pattern, right? Like a normal societal pattern, right? So women who are in law enforcement, it would look weird if she gets kidnapped, because then what's going to happen, they're going to like dig deep into it. They're going to like really get in there and find out what happened to her, because what if it happens to the men? What if the men start disappearing, right? So that's why a female, they have to make it look like it's domestic violence. This way it doesn't raise any red flags. Can you believe it? This is how much thought that they put into this. And guess what? According to Chris, this group is old. He doesn't know how old, but it's old. It's been around for years, like 100 years or something. He said that it's an old group that's been doing this for years. So people ask and wonder, why do we have so many serial, this and that are going out and doing these things to women? There you go, because they get trained very young. The first part of their training is they show them pictures, pornos specifically. And the reason why, and get this, the reason why is so that the men will get pleasure out of it. So they show them violent pornos. Yeah. So then men will feel like a woman is not human. Yeah. So he's not hurting a human being, because only a man could be a human being, not women. Women are just animals. It's, like beating a dog or unaliving a dog. Yeah, they compare it to that. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of this reading, guys. I just wanted to share all this with y'all because Spirit wanted me to. So want y'all to know, especially you young ladies that have not gone through this yet. I think Spirit really wants you to know. You might want to, first of all, if you live in a common law state, you might want to like go get yourself a P.O. box or something so nobody can send mail to you. You might want to, I don't know, do something differently, because this whole common law thing is just a trap. It's a trap for women. Yeah, some women are able to utilize it, but the thing is why are these women, even with men, why in the first place, why is a woman staying with the man that won't marry her? You know what I mean? The point is that in our day and age, women could get a divorce. Where it's not like in the old days. In the old days, ooh, my grandpa was telling me, back in the old days, women couldn't get a divorce. It was very hard and it was costly. Like you had to have a lot of money to get a divorce. Anyways, guys, I think I better get out of it. My phone's gonna die. But back then it was very costly. Today people could get divorces. It doesn't cost that much. I think maybe $200-300, maybe at the most. But if you think about it, for our freedom and our safety, I think it would be best that women just go back to the old ways. Instead of shacking up with somebody, just get married. And this whole thing about common law, marriage, and all that, well, I think we should all fight this and get rid of it, because it is a trap and a lot of women are losing their lives because of it. And the fact that when you live in a common law state, any man can claim you. Pretty much any man can claim you. And the thing is that a lot of the police officers that live here they'll say yeah, okay. And here in Texas, because it is a common law state, the cops, they'll, well, I've never been arrested, but I have been threatened to be arrested, that they were going to arrest me for not letting that strange man, come into my house with my children. So, and I wasn't a young girl either. At the time, I was, I don't even think I was 30 years old yet. I was like in my late 20s. And can you imagine them doing this to an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old and telling her, "Oh, well, he says he's your husband," and she's there, "I don't know him." "Well, you better let him in, or we're gonna arrest you." What's that young girl gonna do? She's gonna listen to the cops. She's gonna let this strange man in her house. She's gonna be afraid that they're gonna arrest her. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, catch me in the next one, guys. I'm so sorry that this took me so long to tell y'all. It was just, it's a lot, and I'm barely telling y'all just the tip of the iceberg of everything. Like seriously, I'm not even telling y'all not even 5% of everything that he told me. Not even 5%. He was telling me stuff, and it was woo for like 9 hours. He was telling me. He just, you know what? Oh, this is what he told me. You know what he told me? He told me I had no idea how lonely it is to be like him. Yeah. He wanted me to sympathize with him. Yeah, can you believe it? He's telling me how he unalived these women, how he trapped these women, how he left them like they were just garbage, they were nobodies. And he wanted me to sympathize with him and feel sorry for him because I didn't understand how lonely it is for somebody like him. Yeah, yeah. He ended up he ooh, it took him ooh, we were talking for hours. At first I really didn't believe him, but then the more he talked and the more I realized I had my own personal experiences, and it was like, wait a minute. My eyes started opening up like, whoa, you know what I mean? This is crazy stuff. Anyways, he told me he wanted to get out of the club because he couldn't unalive me. They tried. They tried to run me over, and I didn't. I didn't die. Actually, I stood up. They hit me with their car, and I didn't die. He's drugged me up, and I still didn't die. I won't die. God wants me to be here for a reason. And he said that because I won't die, I'm actually the longest person that he's ever kept. Most of the women, they would be gone, within the first few days, and that's it. And he said that because of me, well, first of all, I don't come from a good family. Okay, I'm the only one that didn't come from a good family. He told me that he thought that that was one of the big differences, is that I didn't come from a good family. I've had a very hard life. And I cry a lot in my sleep. I have nightmares. I wet my bed. So I think from what he told me, it sounds like he had some kind of sympathy for me because he told me that I scream a lot in my sleep, and and I cry a lot in my sleep, and I know I wet the bed, and I know I have nightmares. So I know it's true, but I just didn't know that I scream and make noises and kick and the things that he told me I did. And he said that because of those things, because he knows that I've been hurt so badly in my life, that it actually, he told me that it's kind of like, it doesn't make him feel like he's conquering anything great, he told me. He said it's kind of like, somebody going off and unaliving a rabbit. He said it doesn't make you feel good, right? But if you come back and you unalive a elephant or a tiger, and then you're like, yeah, I did this. He said with me, because I've already been hurt so much in my life, and I have nightmares, and I go through these. I have so much trauma in my life. He said it's like, unaliving a rabbit. So it makes me question, like, well, if that's true, and unaliving me would be like unaliving a rabbit, then why did he unalive my cat? Oh, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, because it's trauma bonding. He needed to trauma bond with me, so he needed to unalive my cats. You know what I mean? In the worstest way, he unalived them in the worstest way. So then I would just find them like there, you know, in a horrible condition. I'm telling you because in case this happens to you. So if you come home and find your pet unalive, then you'll know what's going on. These are red flags that I didn't notice. I didn't start noticing it until I think the sixth until about the sixth cat. And that's when I was like, wait a minute, this is weird because I've had animals my whole life. And the only time I've had an animal that was like, would be unalived was because, they ended up drowning when I was a kid. Something logical happened. Like in San Antonio, we had a big flood. My dog got stuck in the flood. He ended up drowning. We couldn't find him. I mean, I don't know if you know, but Texas, when it rains and pours, it's bad. You can't see nothing. It's like somebody throwing a bucket of water in your face. And you know what I'm saying. So there was like a reason why my past animals have passed away. There was, usually some kind of um, something to do with nature, what I mean, like flooding and snow or something, right? But yeah, about the fifth or sixth cat that got unalive, that's when I was like, is this person, it's gotta be this person. That's when I started becoming suspicious, somewhere around there, guys. I don't remember exactly which cat it was. I don't want to think about it because I don't want to start crying. But, after a few cats passed away, I started realizing, something was fishy going on. You know what I mean? So, but I went to the police and they wouldn't do anything about it. They wouldn't help me. Apparently, according to him, I've been blacklisted. So the cops have been ordered not to help me. So I'm kind of like on my own. And the reason why I'm telling you that this part too is because if this person is part of this group, which means they have connections in the police as well, which means you will be blacklisted too. So even if you go like I did, I went to the police. I was telling them how he was drugging me up, he essayed me, how he was doing. And they were like, nothing, crickets. Didn't even do a background check on him, didn't arrest him, nothing. Now I have back problems because he stomped on my back. I got a lot of problems. I'm having seizures now. Um, I have all kinds of problems now because of the things he's done to me. Not to mention the emotional problems. I'm talking about just the physical problems, just the day to day things. Yeah, and I kept expecting the cops to come and they never came. And they still haven't came. And they'll never come. It's the curse of living in a, common law state. Anyways, guys, catch me in the next one. I hope this helps you. I hope this knowledge helps you in some kind of way. I hope I hope spirit is right that this is gonna help open your eyes, especially you who this is a future reading for. Okay. All right, guys, catch me in the next one. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Sorry that this is so long. My phone's about to die. Y'all take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.